Today we're going to look at some naturalistic planting. Some of this I helped to actually achieve by giving suggestions, and this is a fantastic garden for people to come and visit here in North Hampshire. Hello, I'm Rosie Hardy. This is Rosie Hardy Gardening. We are here at Bear Mill Garden. This is a stone's throw away from the nursery, and I have had quite a lot of dealings with the owners to help and assist with planting that's here. We're going to have a look at the naturalistic planting that there is in the Mediterranean garden, and then go on to have a look at other areas within the garden itself. The Mediterranean area is fantastic. It is a large gravel garden with all sorts of different ideas within it, showing you how to space and actually give space to plants rather than making it totally full up or at any one time. And it's the beauty of that space which makes it look so interesting and much more naturalistic. From the moment you walk into this garden, you feel as though you're transported somewhere else. This Mediterranean area at this time of the year, late March, early spring, is full. It's abundance of beautiful bulbs. Hellebores are going over, other plants are coming through, the shrubs are just coming out, and it looks fantastic. You're surrounded by water, there are blossom trees, everything is beautiful, the birds are singing. What couldn't be more lovely than coming to visit a garden like this, which opens for charity a few days of the year. We're going to look at some really interesting bits of planting within this garden, which I personally think are worth you knowing about. So when you visit, you can see it. If you're looking at it on video, you can understand the thought process behind this garden. In here, we have this amazing, beautiful Magnolia, which at the moment is looking stunning. It's at its peak. You've got plenty of buds still on here, a few flowers going over, but adorned in these wonderful pink flowers. Carpeting underneath this Magnolia are Hellebores, all in one colour. So you've got this pink going down to this red pink, and I think that is beautiful. And then moving out to the blue Chinodoxa, which are the bulbs at the bottom. This is all Mediterranean garden planting, so this will get dry. When the Hellebores die back down again, the leaf is on the tree, so it creates a big amount of shade. But coming out, you've then got Persicaria. Sorry, that is now Bistorta. Bistorta superba, which has its beautiful pink spikes. There's a fabulous tree peony here. There are anemones coming through, and to cap it all off, you've got two really beautiful large plants. Firstly, this Cynara with its gorgeous big grey foliage, which is going to make a huge mound and then come up and have its fabulous big thistle-like flower on the top of it. But next to it is this Ferula communis. Now this wasn't necessarily planted in this spot. It has started to do what it does in a garden that it likes, and it's self-seeding. So that is going to be a fabulous contrast there. Beautiful cut divided green foliage, and then it will have a huge big beautiful yellow flower spike on the top of it. This will all mix together and look fantastic, and you go through the seasons always having the space filled. The beauty of a well-planted Mediterranean garden is the fact that it can change through the seasons, and it can mirror certain aspects, such as having slightly closer planting in some area because it's wanting to be a little bit of a screen from everything else, to being more open and allowing the plants to grow. What I love about this particular section is you've got this wonderful round stone here, and then the plants that grow around it are also in rounds. Some of them naturally grow like that, like this beautiful Corokia, which is sitting here in this fabulous gravel garden and looking superb, and the Acer behind me here going in a beautiful round as well. But then when you move to behind me, you will see that you've got Euonymus here, which have been clipped and made into these wonderful round, they're not blobs, but they are beautifully clipped, looking superb. And with their fresh new green growth, they look fantastic. So yes, these are a little bit manicured, but some are not. The holly, the beautiful variegated Ilex behind me, also just given that bit. But as you walk past, you are seeing the glimpses of the beautiful river going past. And that is such a fantastic thing to do. So with something that is slightly manicured, like this Euonymus here, it will be clipped probably twice a year, because sometimes you'll get bits that come out in the wrong place. Also, occasionally there are bits which are reverting to green, so they will be cut out. But what you have to realise is that this is all going to become full of the plants that are low down, the herbaceous, which hasn't come out yet. At the moment, you've got these beautiful rounds, so they're all echoing that wonderful stone there. Even these lavender are in that shape, but there are soon going to be Papaver rubifragrum, Eryngium borgatii coming up. They're going to change it, but they're going to give you more colour. And just this spring green or slightly yellow as it is on this, all echoes through, and you have got points of purple foliage and more purple foliage. So it all does just blend together, and it's almost seamless, but this is planned to be like this. Once you get your big structures in, then you fill in with your low ground cover. I'm standing here on the edge of two twin borders. These are ones that I designed many years ago for this garden. So we have a Mediterranean area that you come through the driveway down past the house, past other borders, and then you come through the orchard to these beautiful twin borders. At the moment, at the end of March, these are not showing an awful lot. There is just a little bit of the herbaceous material coming through. A lot of bulbs that have been planted are coming up as well. But as you can see, there is standing water everywhere. That is because we are right on the floodplain, and the river going past is at its peak at the moment, and we have had a lot of rain this year. Very soon it will start to go down, and the borders and the plants will come up through and look fantastic. We will go to the other end of these borders near the orchard and just show the plants coming through that are in a slightly drier area. In this part of the border, you've got beautiful clumps of leaves of lupins, hardy geraniums, the hyacinths, the tulips and the narcissus are all looking fantastic. Leaving the metal supports for where your big plants are is always a good idea through the winter. You don't have to replace them. You can see peonies coming up as well, and it's all just waiting and wanting to burst into life. When we come back later in the season, this is going to be right up here and looking beautiful. A lot of the plants that are in here have grown and become large clumps, so therefore they have been lifted, divided, moved around. They are no longer in an area where they were originally. The original plants will be in one bit and another in other areas. And it's the same with all borders. You know, some plants work, others don't, and there may be problems this year with the amount of wet that certain plants will have to be replaced, and other things are making huge clumps. There's an Symphiotrchum just down here, which is really quite large, and that needs splitting up. There are things at the back here, which there are some Tradescantia right in the far distance there. They need lifting and splitting. So it's a continual thing when you have herbaceous borders, that your clumps need lifting, dividing, moving around, and then you add new things as and when you want them. I know people ask, how can you put bulbs in amongst herbaceous, because the herbaceous have got a big amount of root. So with the bulbs that are planted in here, they're dotted around, there's not hundreds of them, and there really isn't that much competition with your herbaceous. The herbaceous plants have got their space, the bulbs will just find the cracks in between. The bulbs put their roots down when the herbaceous are not really growing, and then when the bulbs finish, they don't have their roots on their bulbs at all. So there isn't really that competition. And if you're mulching your borders, then everything is getting food. And the bulbs are up now, getting whatever sunshine there is. And it is a good way of having extra colour in large borders. This is one of my favourite bits of the Mediterranean border because you can see a lot of the gravel. Now, some people don't like that, but you get the individual plants being able to have their own space. And in this bit, there are lots and lots of species and different peonies. So you go from tree peonies, quite with huge big flowers on this particular one, to your big yellow flowered tree peony there, much more mature. Bulbs all scattered right the way through, big masses of thyme, and then you've got your hellebores which have been out early, and then the different colours and the different leaf shapes of the peonies that are there. A little bit of Pulsatilla. Later to come on, there will be some roses. I don't mind roses in other people's garden. They're lovely, just not in my garden. This is fantastic. It's had, you know, more Narcissus coming through. It's got primroses. Behind me here, a fantastic Magnolia stellata. And then through there, the lovely yellow coming down, the Corylopsis. All of this joins together. The shrubs have plenty of room. There is space between them. That is what makes a really good Mediterranean garden, is places where they have space to grow. There is underplanting, but there's still space for more things to come through. I just love this. And there are irises which are going to be coming through. So there are bearded irises in here. There are fritillarias to come through. Different muscari coming out now. So gradually as the season goes through, it goes from blues and yellows into pinks and reds, and then it will change again. Just a really clever bit of planting. You can take ideas from this if you have a much smaller garden. So instead of putting in large irises or large roses or large peonies, you go for the smaller varieties which don't get as big, but you can still get the same effect and you can still give them their space to grow. So you go for the dwarfer forms, or maybe you go for things which are more upright and don't go as far sideways. That way you can get exactly the same effect in a small gravel garden, Mediterranean style, in a smaller area. Don't have to have big areas like this. You can still create the same effect by choosing the correct plants for the correct spot. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and please do comment below on any of your thoughts or questions. We will probably come back here again later on in the season to show you how the garden is progressing. Thank you very much for watching, and please do subscribe to the channel. If you want to watch another video of mine, YouTube thinks this one is perfect for you.